With the 2023 NFL Draft ready to kick off tonight, I wanted to take a quick look back at Washington's draft class from last season to grade how each pick did in their first year in DC. Let's get right to it. Washington went into the 2022 draft holding the 11th overall pick in the first round. The Commanders made a trade with the New Orleans Saints on draft day, swapping their number 11 pick for the Saints' 16th overall and acquiring multiple mid-round picks in the process. With the number 16 pick, Washington selected wide receiver Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. Dotson started off his NFL career with a bang, catching 2 touchdowns in his very first game, including the game winner. Unfortunately, the talented route runner struggled with hamstring injuries throughout his first season, but ended up starting 10 of 12 games played and totaling 35 catches on 61 targets for 523 yards, averaging 14.8 yards per catch and leading all rookies with 7 touchdowns. The dynamic young playmaker proved to be the perfect complement to Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel in DC, and new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy will look to help Dotson take the next step in 2023. In the second round of the 2022 NFL Draft, Washington selected Alabama defensive tackle Phidarian Mathis with the 47th overall pick. Taken as important depth behind stud starters Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, the long-arm D tackle impressed in the preseason, but was sadly lost for the year in the very first game of the season. Mathis was injured in the first quarter versus Jacksonville after just 4 snaps, ending up on season-ending IR after tearing the meniscus in his left knee. After a full year of recovery, Mathis should slot in behind Allen and Payne as an important rotational piece on the Commanders' defensive line in 2023. Washington took back-to-back Alabama products in 2022, snagging the Crimson Tide's bruising running back Brian Robinson in the third round with pick 98 overall. Tragically, Robinson's NFL career was almost cut short before it had even started, after he was shot twice in the lower body in a robbery and carjacking attempt in late August. Robinson returned to the field 6 weeks later versus Tennessee and ended up starting 9 of 12 games played in 2022, taking 205 carries for 797 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and adding 9 catches for 60 yards and 1 touchdown receiving. Robinson looks to be the starting running back for Washington going forward and forms an excellent 1-2 punch with Antonio Gibson in the Commanders' backfield. In the fourth round of the 2022 NFL Draft, with the 113th overall selection, the Commanders chose DB Percy Butler from Louisiana. The slender safety played in 15 games, mostly on special teams, making 11 total tackles with 1 pass deflection and 1 fumble recovery. Butler was an important part of Washington's elite special teams unit and will look to develop in coverage as a backline defender and depth option behind starters Cam Curl and Derek Forrest. In the 5th round of the 2022 NFL Draft, Washington selected quarterback Sam Howell from the University of North Carolina. Falling all the way to pick 144 after being a preseason favorite to be the first quarterback off the board, Howell landed in the Commanders' lap after a down season in Chapel Hill. After spending the majority of his 2022 season as the QB3 behind Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, Howell finally saw his first action in Week 18 versus Dallas, making his first NFL start and leading the Commanders to a 26-6 win while completing 11 of 19 passes for 169 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception, rushing 5 times for 35 yards and another score. Howell's first NFL pass was a touchdown to Terry McLaurin, and the young signal caller generally looked comfortable and capable leading the Washington offense. With a full offseason as the starter and new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy calling the plays in DC, Howell and the rest of the Washington offense could be one of the more explosive and exciting units in the NFL in 2023. Washington's second 5th-round pick in 2022, tight end Cole Turner was the 149th overall selection as a developmental receiving threat for the Commanders. The lanky 6'6" tight end from Nevada was originally a wide receiver in college and struggled to find playing time in 2022 behind starter Logan Thomas and blocking specialist John Bates, starting 2 of 10 games played while making just 2 catches on 9 targets for 23 scoreless yards. The tall tight end was drafted as a potential red zone threat, but has yet to show that potential in the pros. The first of Washington's 2 7th-round picks in 2022, Tulsa guard Chris Paul was the Commanders' 230th overall selection. Paul was drafted as a developmental interior lineman and didn't see his first playing time until the final game of the season, starting Week 18 versus Dallas and playing 66 snaps at left guard. The promising prospect only allowed 1 QB pressure while being flagged for 1 penalty, but otherwise held his own against an extremely talented Cowboys defense in the Commanders' 26-6 win. Paul could have potential as a starter at guard for Washington and will look to compete in 2023 with veteran Andrew Norwell and Washington's 2024 round pick Sadiq Charles for snaps along Washington's interior offensive line. Washington's final pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, with a 240th overall selection in the 7th round, the Commanders chose cornerback Christian Holmes from Oklahoma State. The athletic rookie played in all 17 games for Washington in 2022, featuring mostly on special teams, making 12 total tackles with 2 fumble recoveries, and will head into 2023 as a promising developmental defender in Washington's secondary unit. The 2022 NFL Draft provided Washington with multiple starters, as well as important depth across the board, and many of these young players are expected to fill even bigger roles this upcoming season. The Commanders will look to continue to improve the roster as the league turns its full attention to the 2023 NFL Draft and a new crop of talented prospects. What did you think of last year's Commanders draft class? And with the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft starting tonight, what do you think are Washington's biggest draft needs? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more NFL content just like this.